Hiya VC, yeah, I'm back again. Thought I'd try something a bit different with this one. Excuse me. This video has been inspired by a comment that somebody told me about a person who only listens to greatest hits from artists. And their argument for only listening to greatest hits is that because, well, they're the best tracks, aren't they? So, of course, me being an album guy, and I'm sure all of us being album guys would take issue with that and obviously point out the error of said person's ways, but that's just really arrogant. You enjoy music how you enjoy. But that set me thinking that maybe there are some artists who are really only known for their greatest hits. And I can think of one artist in particular who really is only known for their greatest hits. And that artist is ABBA. Yep, I'm going to talk about ABBA. Hooray, pop music, whoa! This has sold, I mean, even just in the UK, it sold nearly 6 million copies. And thanks to Mamma Mia, the songs on this CD are pretty ubiquitous. And I think, more or less, they're the only ones that most people know. Because I can't believe that many people now go delving into ABBA's back catalogue, which is a real shame, to be honest. I doubt many people have even got this CD either, which is more ABBA Gold. This delved. So here, of course, you've got the massive hits, the ones that you hear all the time. Here you go into lesser hits, things like Eagle, which was, I'm not even sure if that was a UK release. I know it's released in Europe as a single. Things and album tracks and all kinds of stuff. And the music on here is absolutely brilliant. There's so many brilliant tracks. But I thought, ABBA, is it possible to put together an imaginary 12-track vinyl collection from what was left on each album, disregarding anything that was obviously compiled on that or on that? So obviously that some albums that doesn't leave a lot of tracks because so many songs were released as singles. I mean, well, so many of their songs are absolute genius singles as well. But I've had a go. I've listened to their entire back catalogue. Oh, nearly entire. For the purposes of this video, I only included the albums they released when they were formally called ABBA. So that doesn't mean I do the first one, Ring Ring, which is pretty dire anyway. I think the only track that's any good on there is Ring Ring. So, is it Ring Ring? Yeah, which is on more ABBA hits. So, apart from that, which they were called by their respective first names, I've gone for the classic 7 albums. I've chosen at least one track from each album in an effort to prove that ABBA's songs were strong all the way through their albums. Sure, there's a few clunkers on some of especially the earlier albums. They really hit their stride about Voulez-Vous around that time, about 78, 79. They really hit their stride album-wise, leading up to an absolute genius release, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. So, this imaginary compilation is called Beyond Gold. I know, highly imaginative. And the first track I chose would be off of Arrival. Fabulous album. Loads of singles off it, Dancing Queens on it. But the track I chose to start off with is track 4 on side 2, which is Tiger. And it is a rollicking barrel of fun. It is a great track. I mean, lyrically, not up to much. They did improve their lyrics, but I remember reading I've just finished reading the 33 1/3 book on ABBA, and they chose ABBA Gold to talk about as well. I mean, these albums don't even get a look in anymore. They might as well not exist to a lot of it, to all extents and purposes. And on that, Bjorn's quoted as saying basically they didn't really worry about lyrics. It was more about the sound of Agneta and Frida's voice, contributing to the whole ABBA sound. So lyrics were very much kind of an afterthought, to be honest. They were definitely sonically concentrating on things and sonically. But Tiger's a great track, and it would have, I reckon, if that had been released as a single, that would have definitely been a great big massive, another great big massive hit for them. Not quite as strong as Dancing Queen or No Me, No You, Money, Money, Money. I mean, good God, they just unbelievable. Anyway, Tiger, track 1. Track 2 is from this album, Super Trooper. Another brilliant track album. Another load of really great singles off this. But the track I'm choosing off here for my second track is track 3 on side 2, and that's called The Piper. And this is absolutely great track. There's some, I mean, on all ABBA songs, there's some brilliant vocal work. The way they arrange their voices, all 4 of them, into one beautiful, beautiful whole, and all the combinations thereof, just amazing. And this is another one. This is apparently the lyrics are based on the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and it's all about leading people on a merry dance. But it's just another classic song, and I really encourage people to delve into these albums because there's some cracking tracks. Track 3 on my album is from this. Now I'm going to take a little bit of time just to delve into this. This is their classic album. This is their genius album. This should be up there rated with so many of the great albums of the last 40, 50 years, because this is amazing. Just all the way, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And so, for track 3 of Beyond Gold, it would be Soldiers, which is track 4. Here we go, Soldiers. Last song on side A. And this is where they finally got their stuff together lyrically. This, on here, there are some amazing tracks, and lyrically, you know, they're actually trying to say something. Something they got slated for on their earlier albums, which I just don't think that's fair. But Soldiers is kind of, it's all about, it's definitely an anti-nuclear song, about soldiers marching. When the soldiers march, we're all going to get caught up in the dance of nuclear holocaust at the time. I mean, and now, who knows what's going to happen, but it's sort of the same things happening again, really. But an absolutely astounding track. Again, it's just more vocal brilliance. And what I find so amazing about ABBA is a lot of their songs, they just, Frida and Agneta just absolutely learn phonetically, which is just amazing. The fact that they could put so much emotion into something they didn't really necessarily understand what they were singing about. But there we go, track 3. Right, track 4. Oh, I'm going to put that aside because I'm definitely going to need that album again. There's more tracks of that coming up. Oh, in fact, the next track is again from The Visitors. This is the album I chose the most tracks from. I tried to limit myself to 2 tracks max from each album, but this is so good I chose 3. So for track 4, I'm going to choose Like an Angel Passing Through My Room, the last song released on the last album by ABBA. And it is a strange one because it's only Frida singing on it. But it is the most gorgeous song. If it had been released by, I don't know, Sinead O'Connor, or if it had been released by, I don't know, any sort of, you know, Dusty, or somebody who had that critical clout, you know, the critics' favourites, it'd be an absolute classic. But because it's ABBA, and because it's tucked away on their last album, which wasn't quite as popular, it's unfairly ignored. It is an amazing song. I mean, the way it comes in with on a ticking clock, as though it's calling time on the whole of the ABBA career, and just so poignant and so beautiful. Fantastic song. Right, I am going to need that one more time, so we'll keep that one out, I think. Right, track 5 is off this album. We're going earlier now. So this is their second album as ABBA. And the track I'm choosing off this, amongst all the hits and things like Banger Boomerang, which is awful, is Hey Hey Helen, which is that one, track 2. There we go. And this is a glam track, really. What ABBA did a lot of on their album tracks, they tended to release all the pop stuff as singles, which is why they're probably so popular. But on the albums, they really did try out all kinds of things. I mean, on this album, you've got sort of light reggae, which actually works for a white pop band. It's that kind of Euro reggae, but it works. Schlager, or whatever it's called, that Banger Boomerang is just pure. But they also tried out a lot more rocky stuff, and I'm choosing Hey Hey Helen because it's just a brilliant glam song. I mean, it's poppy, but it's just brilliant, and it's got a great guitar riff in it. More fantastic vocals. You're going to get tired of me saying that. It's all apparently about a single mum and or somebody who's just fallen pregnant or something like that, and I think it's people variously asking, what on earth are you going to do now? And then she comes up with a line, well, it's all going to be alright in the end. You know what to do. So I'm sure she's going to be alright. But the track itself is absolutely fantastic. And just as a mark of how much respect should be given, Lush, shoegaze band from the 90s on 4AD, actually covered that. And just, I mean, their version is brilliant, but ABBA, oh, ABBA. Right, okay. Now, closing out, I want this one. Closing out side 1 of Beyond Gold is a track from their first album. And I think this is the only track I chose off Waterloo. More good stuff. Not my favourite ABBA album. I mean, obviously that goes to the Visitors, that's hands down. But Super Troopers, damn fine too. But I am choosing track 2 of side 2, which is Watch Out. And that's a hard rock track. They've gone hard rock. It's ABBA does hard rock. Of course, with the harmonies and the vocals and everything. Lyrically, doesn't matter. But the sound of it is really good. It's got really good rock riff. Sung by Bjorn, which, you know, you can take or leave him as a vocalist. I think he often tries his best to be Noddy Holder, and there's another track coming up later where he really does try to be Noddy Holder. But always the girls rescue stuff, and to be honest, Bjorn's voice isn't that bad. You know, when you hear ABBA, you tend to want to hear the Agneta and Frida, but to be honest, even the stuff where the verses tend to be sung by Bjorn is well worth listening to. It's all great stuff. They really were brilliant songwriters, Benny and Bjorn. Just brilliant. So Watch Out, hard rock from ABBA. Right, so that's the end of side 1. Flip it over for side 2. And I'm handily slipping over my piece of paper with my notes on. So that's what I'm looking at, if you're wondering why I keep looking down, because I can't remember all the track lists and stuff. Right, moving on. Side 2, track 1 is off Voulez-Vous, their disco album. disco masterpiece, to be honest. I mean, sure, there's got a lot of, you've got things like I Have a Dream and Chiquitita on here, but a lot of this is out and out disco. And the one that I chose off here is the opening track of the album, As Good As New. It starts off with a rush of strings. And it's a beautiful way to open the album, but immediately goes into a really funky disco track. Really funky guitar on there, almost not quite as dirty as, say, something like Isaac Hayes or something like that, but it's a cleaner version of it, but it's definitely along those lines. And then it leads into this fantastic pure pop chorus, which is just excellent. I mean, what they did, I think what they did sometimes was they kind of slammed genres together. So you had like maybe pop and some classical strings and some funk in there, but it kind of melded it to a glorious whole at times. I mean, some of them don't work, some of the tracks don't work, but on the whole, 90% of their stuff is fantastic. Right, so there we go. That's As Good As New, track 1 on side 2 of Beyond Gold. Right, back to this one, back to ABBA. And for track 2 on side 2, I am going to choose that one, Rock Me. Despite the title, it's not actually that rocky. It's definitely sort of their representative of their early period, the more Eurovision-y stuff, where it's I think they found some kind of vocal hook and then constructed the lyrics around it. Not really thinking too much about lyrics. That's fine. I don't need to hear magnificent lyrics all the time. If this music's good enough, that more than makes up. But colossal pop track, colossal. And I'm sure, you see, I think I've heard this before. So I think I remember hearing that as a kid. I know we didn't have ABBA albums around, but they were on TV so much. I must have heard it because it really rings a bell. But fantastic track. Right, so we're on to track 3, which is off Aha. Right, we're on to this one. The final album to have a track selected, put that over there, is ABBA the Album. Now this gets slated a lot. It got slated in that 33 1/3 book as being their weakest album. Well, I really don't see why it's so weak, because it's got, I mean, anyway, well, maybe I'll do a critical reappraisal of all of their albums, maybe, because there's so many good tracks on here. But the track I'm using, and I've got to get a new cover of this because I can't get that blooming thing off, but is track 2 of side 2. I don't know if you can see that. It's that one. And that is, no, it's not. Dear me, it's that one. And that is Hole in Your Soul. Now this one, it's reversed this time. You've got the verses sung by the two women, and then Benny joins in on the chorus with a really low chorus. It's kind of a really understated chorus. But there's about 6 different vocal hooks on here, so even if you don't like the chorus, you're going to get hooked by something else. And yeah, it's yeah, on this one, on Hole in Your Soul, there's a fantastic bridge where it's like it's just all mixed up and really trying hard to be something. No, it's not trying hard to be something different. It's just being different from normal ABBA. That's what's great about their albums. You think you know ABBA from the hits, and then you get to these, and there's some cracking tracks. Right, and then track 4 on side 2 is another song from here. On this album, the last 3 tracks on side 2 are sort of 3 scenes from a mini musical called The Girl with the Golden Hair. Track 1 is Thank You for the Music, well, everybody knows that. Track 2 is I Wonder, which is good. But track 3, or part C of it, is called I'm a Marionette, and that is amazing, absolutely amazing. It's the lyrics are all about how a star or a pop singer gets pulled in all directions and gets treated like a puppet by all and sundry. But it's a Frida song. Frida takes the lead on this one, and it's just brilliant. And I really like the chorus in that one because it's a really jerky sort of, the music is quite jerky, really gets behind how, you know, you get the feeling of being pulled all over as if you are a marionette. Love it. Right, 2 tracks left, and one's off there and one's off there. Right, okay, so we've got the third track as track 5 on side 2. We've got the third track of this, which is from the Visitors, which is Like a Name. No, it's not. It's 2 for the Price of 1, which is there. 2 for the Price of 1. This is a bit of a, I don't know. Bjorn seemed to come up with some slightly creepy lyrics at times, but this one's all about this guy searching for a wife in the ads. I don't know whether it's mail order bride or something, but it obviously not. This is back in the 70s, but sort of looking through the Lonely Hearts ads and finding an advert for 2 women instead of just 1. 2 for the price of 1. What's so special about this track? It's not the lyrical twist that you get at the end of the song. The whole thing leads up into it's kind of a story song. The guy phones this woman up, and then there's a complete twist right at the end. It's the voices on the chorus. I mean, they are immaculately produced and so intricate, and the interplay between the layers are built up on the vocal lines. I mean, it's just incredible. They must have spent so long recording their vocals and then putting them into place. Just phenomenal stuff. So there we go, 2 for the price of 1, penultimate track. And then I would finish off the album with an absolute gorgeous track off. Is it off Voodoo? No, wrong album. It's off, if I can find the thing, off Arrival. And it would actually be the final song off Arrival, which is called Arrival. It's a gorgeous wordless vocal track. It's got music on it, but the vocals are just wordless, and it's just a perfect summation, just to bring the album to a close. And there we go. My imaginary ABBA album, Beyond Gold, trying to persuade people that there is more to ABBA than just ABBA Gold. I have actually made a playlist of the album on YouTube, which I will post below if anybody really wants to check it out after they've heard me witter on about these 4 Swedes for the last 25 minutes odd. But yeah, go and check out the ABBA albums, because there's some absolute gems on each one. And in the UK, you can still pick them up dead cheap. I mean, I've bought all of these in the last year or so for £1 each. So you can get, you know, they're basically their whole discography, apart from Ring Ring, which is quite expensive. But their classic discography for like £7. And then you've got joyous hours of listening ahead. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. I didn't know how well I would put this together, but hopefully somebody's going to enjoy this somewhere. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you all again soon. Cheers, BC. Bye.